CNT125, Chapter 7, we're looking at remote file access. If you remember back from 120, we talked FTP, File Transfer Protocol. This does provide remote file access. And if you managed websites a number of years ago, you might have actually updated files to your website, changes to your website using FTP. You would upload the file to your web server. It would start using the changed files, and an easy way to do that would be through FTP. You would transfer those files from your machine up to the web server. Okay, works good. The only downside is it's not secure. It does not encrypt the data for transmissions, username, password, files, etc. None of that is protected, if you will. So, there is encrypted versions or encrypted extensions to FTP. FTPS, FTP Security or FTP Secure, it's an added layer of protection for FTP using SSL or TLS that encrypts both the control and the data channels. Because if you remember, FTP uses two ports, 20 and 21. One of those ports for setting up the connection and controlling it, and the other one to actually transmit the data. FTPS is typically configured to listen at port 21. And the default channels requires two data channels. Default channels now are 989, 990. But as we see on the next one, FTPS and the next option SFTP are not compatible with each other. These are not compatible options. Secure FTP, file transfer version of SSH that includes encryption and authentication. It's an extension of the SSH protocol, not of FTP. So if you look back here, FTPS uses SSL. Okay, so FTP using SSL, if you will. This other one here, Secure FTP, is using SSH. File transfer version of SSH includes encryption and authentication. SFTP is an extension of the SSH protocol. So this one, it's only using a single connection, both inbound and outbound, using SSH port 22. That's the reason these two are not compatible with each other. They're not using the same ports. SSL and SSH using different settings, that sort of thing. They're not compatible with each other. The last one they mentioned is Trivial File Transfer Protocol. I'll get it out yet. Trivial FTP, Trivial File Transfer Protocol. This is a simple version of FTP, and it does actually have some use to us. However, it includes no authentication, no security. So it's something that would be used maybe in-house in your network, not anything that you're going in and out of your network. This requires very little memory, but it is handy for my router configs are very small files, and if I want to back them up for any reason, I could be sending my router and switch files to a central location using TFTP. We will end up doing that in our management lab. We will send our router and switch configs to a central location for storage using a TFTP server. So it is handy for those kind of purposes. You'll also find that certain things like phones and IP phones, that sort of thing, can retrieve their configuration via TFTP. So it is a handy application. It does get used, but there's limitations because, as we said, there is no authentication or security to it. Alrighty, last topic we'll come back to is VPNs.